When it rains, how much water falls from the sky? A 1-inch rain, when it falls on 1 square foot, will generate 0.62 gallons of water. 0.62 gallons of water. That's just shy of 10 cups of water that falls from a 1-inch rain on 1 square foot. Well, let's think about this. Wow, if we've got an area that's 10 square foot, a 1-inch rain will give us about 6 gallons of water. If we've got an area that's 100 square foot, that'll give us 60 gallons of water. Well, what about 1,000 square foot? Well, you can do the math. But what if there was a way we could capture that water when it falls and use it at a later date? Well, you can, by making a rain barrel. Hello, I'm Richard Parrish. I'm the County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources in Leon County, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to build a rain barrel. A rain barrel is an opportunity for you to capture that rainfall on a rainy day and use it at a later time. And in order to make a rain barrel, it's a pretty simple process. You just need a few tools, a little bit of equipment, and about 30-45 minutes worth of time. Let's take a look at the tools you'll need. In order to make a rain barrel, you're either going to need a drill motor or a jigsaw. You're going to need some channel lock pliers, some sort of pencil, marker, or marking device, a ruler. Then you're going to need a 6-inch hole saw, a 2 3/8 inch hole saw, and then a 1-inch spade bit. Now, if you don't have the hole saws, don't go buy them. You can certainly, this is where the jigsaw comes in. So you can either use the jigsaw to cut your holes or use the drill motor and the hole saws to drill your holes. Something else you're going to want is some silicone caulk. Now, let's come take a look over at the equipment. So for the equipment we're going to need for our rain barrel, the first thing we're going to need is a 55-gallon food grade quality barrel. Now, you might find these at a feed store. There are some online businesses. There's even some storefront businesses that sell these food grade quality barrels. And you want to make sure it's food grade quality and that the only thing that's been in this barrel is something food related. Now, this barrel is white. You can use white, but if you could find a barrel that's green or blue or black or some other darker color besides white, that's going to work better for you, because with this white, it allows light to penetrate into the barrel, and whenever this barrel is filled with water, it can generate algae growth. So yes, we can use a white barrel. If you use a white barrel, I would suggest painting it before installing it as a rain barrel. If you can find the darker color barrel, that would be best. If you don't have a food grade quality barrel, you can use a heavy duty trash can. Just make sure that the trash can has not been used before. Some other equipment that we're going to need a 3/4 inch hose bib. We're going to need a 2-inch PVC male adapter. We're going to need a 2-inch 90-degree PVC street elbow. We're going to need a 2-inch electrical conduit lock nut, and then we're also going to need some window screen. Well, let's make our rain barrel. So before we make our rain barrel, what we want to decide is where are we going to place our rain barrel, and how much water comes off of the roof in regards to where we place our rain barrel. And that's going to help determine where we're going to put our hole in the top of our rain barrel. So where I'm going to place this rain barrel, I know that where I'm going to place it, when the water falls, it's going to come in the center of the rain barrel. So I've already, using my ruler, I've already marked my hole in the center. And this is where, in my case, I've got me a 6-inch hole saw. I've cut me a 6-inch hole for where my water is going to enter into my rain barrel. Like I said earlier, if you don't have the hole saw, don't buy one. You can use a jigsaw. There are other tools you can use in order to cut this plastic barrel. So I've got my 6-inch hole drilled into my barrel. Next, I want to mark and measure where I'm going to place my hose bib and my overflow, because as this barrel fills up, we want to make sure there's a spot or a place for that water to overflow or to flow out. So first off, I'm going to measure for my hose bib. So I'm going to get my ruler and my marker, and for my hose bib, I like to measure about 4 inches up from the bottom of the barrel, and I'm going to make me a mark there. And the reason I like to come up about 4 inches is because as water enters the barrel, there might be some sediment in that water. So by coming up 4 inches. That gives that sediment an opportunity to settle at the bottom of the barrel, and so that sediment doesn't clog up my hose bib whenever I turn the hose bib on in order to get water. And when I think about the placement of my barrel, I also want to think about, okay, this is where water's coming in. Where do I want my overflow to be? Where do I want my water to come out at? So I've got my spot marked for I'm going to drill my hole for my hose bib. I'm going to move my barrel just a little bit, rotate it some, and I'm going to come 6 inches down from the top. And I'm going to mark 6 inches down from the top. That's where I'm going to install my overflow. And this is where I'm going to use the 2 3/8 inch hole saw. Here again, if you don't have a 2 3/8 inch hole saw, don't go buy one. You can use a jigsaw or some other method of cutting. So I'm going to go back to where I marked for my hose bib. So using the 1 inch spade bit, I have bored a hole into my barrel. Now using the spade bit, you want to make sure that you go perpendicular or 90 degrees to the barrel. Don't come in at an angle, and don't try to wiggle it back and forth to waller the hole out to get a bigger hole. What's going to happen is you're going to make the hole too big, and it's not going to, your hose bib is not going to fit. So as we get our hose bib, we're going to take our hose bib and we're going to screw it in to the hole that we just drilled. Now we just want to make it snug. Don't make it too tight. And then depending upon what's most comfortable for you, if you want your bib to be placed up and down, or if you want to set it at an angle, certainly up to you. Once you get your hose bib placed, this is where we're going to take our caulk, and we're going to put a light bead of caulk around our hose bib to help seal that off. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to drill our hole for our overflow using the 2 3/8 inch hole saw, and I've already done that. Now we're going to install for our overflow. We're going to take our 2 inch PVC male adapter and we're going to stick that in there. We're also going to take our 2 inch electrical conduit lock nut, and we're going to take that lock nut and screw it onto the back of that male adapter, and that's going to hold that adapter in place. Now as we screw this on, this is where we're going to be using we might be using our channel lock pliers in order to get this secured and tight. Once we get this overflow installed, we're going to take our silicone once again, and we're going to put a bead of silicone around that adapter. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 inch street elbow. This is going to serve as our overflow. And then we're also going to take a piece of window screen. Now the reason we're going to put a piece of window screen here is to keep out mosquitoes and other critters, keep them from getting into our rain barrel. And we're just going to put our street elbow on with the screen, and then we can always trim the screen, and then what that will allow us to do is we can take off our street elbow and remove the screen if we ever need to clean the screen. Now before we start putting on our overflow, our street elbow, that might be a time when you want to paint your barrel if you decide you do want to paint. So we've got our street elbow on, we've got our screen on, we're almost done. But wait a minute, if we've got one barrel, then we're almost done. But what if we've got more than one barrel? Well, if we've got more than one barrel, we can certainly connect 2 barrels or more than 2 barrels. And so as we can see here with this rain barrel, the water comes off the roof, comes in and fills up the barrel. As the barrel fills up, it overflows, comes through this 2 inch PVC pipe and overflows into this second barrel. As this barrel fills up, that water's got to go somewhere, and what you can't see, but on the back side of this barrel is an overflow. So as this barrel fills up, the water overflows to the other side. So we can use our overflow to funnel that water into another barrel. So we've got our hose bib put on. We've got our overflow taken care of. The last thing we have left to do is to put something over the top to keep mosquitoes and other critters out. And that's where we're going to take another piece of window screen, and as we come back to the barrel that we're building over here, we're going to take our window screen and we're going to cut a piece just big enough to cover our hole. We're going to take our silicone caulk, we're going to put a bead of caulk around the hole, and we're going to secure our screen to that bead of caulk, and that's going to seal our rain barrel such that mosquitoes and other critters cannot get in, but it will also allow water to get in. Now, using the screen is one way we can filter the water. There's a second way we can filter the water that goes in. We can take a 6-inch plastic flower pot, take a piece of window screening, put that at the bottom, and then we can take some pea gravel. Take some pea gravel and fill our bowl or fill our pot up with that pea gravel, and that acts as a filter as well. Now, in this case, when the rain comes and it falls, the water percolates through that pea gravel and fills up our barrel, but any organic matter stays up on the top. So any leaf debris or any organic matter, mosquitoes and other animals cannot get into our water source. Now, using a rain barrel, one thing we have to keep in mind, this is not drinking water. This is water for use for our plants, for our potted plants, for our landscape plants, for our gardens. This is not drinking water. This is not potable water. If you're interested in designing a rainwater harvesting system for drinking water purposes, you can certainly do that. This is not the system that's going to meet your needs for drinking water. Do not drink the water that comes off the roof and goes into your rain barrel. So, a rain barrel, building a rain barrel, something simple, something easy to do, doesn't cost very much money. The water that you collect has a variety of uses in your lawn and garden. It's a great way to save some water from a rainy day and use it later on when we're wishing that we had a rainy day.